How's it going, guys? What's up, guys? Alex here. Welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends video, and today going to go over the 6. I debated whether or not I should include a Goku because he isn't summonable. I don't actually know how to obtain him, but I think I am just going to end up including him because he is a sparking unit, and sparking units are essentially SSRs. And there was a lot of talk about whether or not certain characters were going to be better than others, and it turns out that they all have their own unique abilities, so it's something that you should take into account when building a team, of course. But obviously, most of it comes down to just how you play when it comes to actual battles. But regardless, hope you guys are having a great day as always. Let me know what you guys have pulled so far. Let's go ahead and get started with the Piccolo, who I managed to pull 2 off, which is dope. Now, show details. I was thinking about the best possible way to just analyze / break down the cards, and I think it's just best if I do it in this particular format, so I can just speak off the top of my head, if that makes any sense at all. So they are all at level 1, which is going to be the best possible representation of what they can do, unless they are all at the exact same level at some point later on. But I'm pretty certain that the friendship rank doesn't necessarily do that much. Class is novice, which means that my max level cap right now is 300. But of course, once you increase that by getting certain souls of the particular character, of course there are different colors, you can increase that class to something else. Now, when it comes to his actual stats, his highest stat is the strike stat, which is kind of surprising to me because almost every single character in the beta had a higher blast attack stat. So I'm glad that they were mixing it up at the very least. So his strike, and keep in mind that you can raise all of these stats with a system in the game. But moving on, strike attack 1826, that is his highest stat. Blast defense 1489. So we have stats for attacks and we have stats for defense. Critical, key restore speed, and then obviously he is part of the Saiyan saga, gender unknown. And this is very important. So I mentioned a while back when the beta was out that key blasts are one of the most quote-unquote OP attacks in the game, and there are certain characters that hold certain cards. For example, the Piccolo holds strike cards as well as the blast card, and as you can see here, it's just a normal card. And there are certain characters that may hold double blast cards, you know, double strike cards. Character tag regeneration, okay, that's interesting. Now if we move on to the rest of the card, of course this is his strike attack. It tells you what kind of position and range it has. It deals major pierce damage, causes enemy to take 15% more blast damage for 15 timer counts, and that's basically 15 seconds. I don't know why they didn't just say 15 seconds, but yeah, basically they take 15% more blast damage for 15 seconds. So let's say you use a special beam cannon and then you use a key blast attack, that is going to do 15% more damage for at least 15 seconds. And an unlucky form of attack, 15% to own strike and blast damage for 30 seconds. And 30 seconds is a damn long time in this game. So if you activate this first, and then obviously you activate a special beam cannon, and then do the blast attack, that is going to do a lot of damage. And it comes back to what I said before about certain characters having a particular, particular type of ability. So that is definitely something that you can do with the Piccolo. And he is a defensive type, as you can clearly tell, because, this kind of says it right there. But the reason why he is a bit more of a defensive type mostly comes down to his abilities, which of course I will go over in a few moments, but that is something that you should be taking into account when using the Piccolo. Try to utilize some of these particular cards, and of course the abilities that the special beam cannon provides to utilize cards such as the blast attack. Now moving on to the ability, his main ability, allies health restored by 25% and abnormal conditions are cured. Requirements 15% or 15 timer counts go past, so 15 seconds and you can activate this ability. 25% of your health restored is pretty big, so this is what adds to Piccolo being a bit more of a defensive type. And when it comes to the abnormal conditions, if I'm not mistaken, there are certain characters in the game that can deal effects that basically last for a certain amount of time, kind of like a burn effect in Pokemon where it lasts for a few amount of turns. But in this situation, Piccolo is capable of just healing them completely thanks to his main ability. Now his Z ability, 22% increase to element green, base strike defense during battle. So basically, the wording for some of these abilities definitely is interesting. So basically, green types get a 22% defensive increase to their strike defense. Pretty straightforward. So he is going to be able to tank strike attacks a bit better because of a 22% defensive increase. And of course, this applies to the green element. Now, the unique abilities. Cuts damage sustained by 50% until attack is over when changing cover. +2 to own count when activated. So, it goes back to what I said before. It's... the wording on some of these can be a bit hard to understand. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me being stupid. But cut damage sustained by 15%, by 50% until the attack is over. It's pretty straightforward, right? And then +2 to own count when activated. That is the part that I don't necessarily understand. But the part that I do understand is that he cuts damage by 50% until the attack is over. Which is obviously until the attack is over when changing cover. What this could mean, okay, because now one thing that they did add to the game, it could be one of two things. One thing that they added to the game recently is that if you are in the middle of attack, let's say the person you're facing does multiple strike attacks, so obviously it combos into the next one, and you can't get out of it, or so he thought. Well, you can't technically get out of it, but that leads into my point. So he does the first strike attack, and then as he goes to combo into the next one, he can actually switch out so that your other character takes the damage. So does this mean that the Piccolo, like if you want... Pardon me. So does this mean if you decide to switch over to the Piccolo, it cuts the damage up until the point that Piccolo changes, or does Piccolo simply take the 50% damage until he change into someone else? You know, that is something that I'm going to have to play around with and obviously test for myself. Because if it's something that activates when you have another character out and you want to switch to the Piccolo mid-combo, then that's going to be pretty damn good because you can save a lot of the health for the characters that you currently have out. And then, of course, if you decide to activate Piccolo's ability to restore 25% of that health that your other character lost, that is going to be a very big play. But his other ability is, which hopefully is pretty straightforward, 20% to own blast damage dealt against Saiyan. So, when you use a blast or key blast, it does 20% more damage against Saiyans. And because the majority of the game are going to be Saiyans, he is going to have a bit of a offensive increase there. But because of the way that this particular ability is said, or put across, I should say, I'm going to say that there is a very high chance that this ability activates when it's Piccolo in play, and not when someone else is in play and you obviously want to switch out. So overall, Piccolo definitely is a bit more of a defensive unit. He does have a few offensive increases here and there, but it mostly comes down to when you face a Saiyan. But of course, as I showed you guys before, most of his abilities are just to reduce the amount of damage that you take. Now, I'm going to try to speed up a little with the Vegeta because I probably spent a lot of time with the Piccolo here. Now, Vegeta, what is this man capable of doing? I would imagine that he is definitely going to be a bit more of an offensive unit, so he is a ranged type. Okay, show details. His highest attack, or highest stat, is blast attack by a reasonable amount as well. Okay, go down. So he does hold those blast cards. Interesting. Okay, now we'll go over to the arts. Strike attack, pretty straightforward. Blast attack, straightforward. Now these two are going to be the more important ones. Deals major thrust damage, 15% to own blast arts power for 15 timer counts. So, of course, that applies only to him. The blast attacks do more damage, and he gets a 15% increase to own blast damage for 30 timer counts. Now, moving on to his abilities, and he doesn't have as many as Piccolo. Well, he doesn't have as many unique abilities as Piccolo, but let's have a look at his main one, which, of course, is Princess Pride. 50% to own blast damage inflicted for 20 timer counts, and you need 15 seconds to go by for this ability to activate. And then 90% to tag Saiyan base blast attack during battle. To tag Saiyan. Okay. I'm guessing. So yeah, the wording. I know what this means now, but the wording in this game is just poor. So basically, a 90% blast attack increase during battle to Saiyan types. That's what it basically means. Now his unique ability, 20% to own blast damage dealt against tag Super Warriors. Super Warriors, okay. So that is definitely a bit more of a narrower tag in comparison to the Piccolo, because the Piccolo gets that increase when he's facing Saiyans, which, like I said, are the majority of the units in this game. But Super Warriors, that is not that big of a vast selection of characters, but I would imagine they did that so that, you know, they can balance out the 50% that he does, or that he can get for the blast damage. So, like I said, blast attack is definitely up there. So, Vegeta, another solid unit, clearly the opposite of the Piccolo. Now, the Spirit Bomb Goku, which I do not know how to obtain, and he is another defensive type. Will he be better than the Piccolo? His highest stat. To be honest, all of his stats are relatively balanced, which makes me believe that he is a freeze-play unit. So his strike attack is actually the highest stat here. Another Saiyan, of course. Key blast cards. Art. Ooh. Okay. So, like I said, these are the more important ones. 15% own damage inflicted. Okay, so it's just damage in general. It doesn't matter if it's blast or, of course, strike. Deals major explode damage. 30% chance to feint the enemy. And he takes 15% more blast damage for 15 timer counts. 30% chance for the enemy to feint. That is an interesting ability. 30% chance is very high. If you can get this to hit, that could put you in a big advantage. Causes enemies to take 40% more blast damage for 25 timer counts. Yo. This surely counts as blast damage, right? I don't know. That may be their way of balancing things. But still, 40%, use the blast attack, and then combo it into the Spirit Bomb. That is crazy. Okay, that is a lot of potential damage there. Z ability, 19% strike defense increase to Saiyans. So that is where that defensive ability comes in. 20% to own blast damage when 3 battle members are left. To be honest, he seems like a bit more of an offensive unit, if I'm going to be real here. He does have offensive, defensive capabilities for sure, but most of them are offensive. 15% to own damage, 15% to blast damage, 30% to feint. I guess you could count as a defensive ability. 40% to blast. That is where ability comes in, of course, but I don't know. The game says he's defensive. I think it's a bit of both. He's the best of both worlds. You know what? I wanted to say the Super Saiyan Goku for the end, but let's see what he has. Let's see what he has in his locker. Let's see how good he is. So he is a ranged type. Okay, like Vegeta. His highest stat is the blast attack. He holds strike cards. Okay. Art. Super Kamehameha. Deals major thrust damage. 15% to own special arts. 15% to own special arts power. 15% to own damage inflicted for 20 timer counts. Super Kamehameha. To own special move art. I do need to figure out what that means. I'm guessing it's this one maybe. 15% to own special move arts power. Which I think is this one. Super Dragon Fist. Maybe it's the opposite. I could be wrong. Okay, that's interesting. That is an interesting ability. Main ability. Draw the ultimate arts card. Oh, so that does explain it. No, wait. So this is... because these are arts card held. To own special move arts power. Special move. I mean... is that just any card in general? But it says special move art. Yeah, I'm going to say that the Super Kamehameha and the Super Dragon Fist are special moves, or special move art. So they both get a 15% increase to their power. And when it goes to the ability, he gets to draw the ultimate arts card, Super Dragon Fist, which he basically gets after 25 timer counts. So you basically get a free ultimate attack after 25 seconds. But I'm pretty certain that the Goku does he need to be out for that particular amount of time, or do just 25 seconds need to pass and then you tag him in for that ability? That is what I am curious to know. He gives a 90% strike attack increase to Saiyans, and a 35% to own blast damage inflicted when allied character Krillin is defeated. Okay. So if you have Krillin on your team and he dies, he gets a 35% blast damage increase. Goku definitely is a bit more of a offensive unit in comparison to the other one so far. Honestly, he is better than Vegeta. I'm just going to say that straight up. Just because of that ability to draw that ultimate card as well. And he can do that consistently because that is his ability. As long as he has time in the clock, as long as you let 25 seconds go past, you can just go ahead and draw that particular card. And of course now we have the Piccolo next, which is one of the units that I'm more excited for. Just because he has Vegeta in the background pretty much. But one thing that I did here is that the pan is very, very good. And I am sorry if this video is dragging, but I'm just trying to learn certain things along the way as well. So he is a melee type. The first type of his type that we've seen so far. Right, sagas from the movies. Okay, great. So strike attacks. Okay, art. Fire kick. Deals major thrust damage, 15% to your own blast damage for 15 timer counts, 20% chance to inflict feint, 15% to your own damage inflicted for 25 timer counts. Now, what are the abilities? Buying time, 10% cost to strike and blast arts cost to all enemies for 10 timer counts. Yo! That is a very, very good ability. So basically what that means is, for certain characters, it kind of tends to vary, depending on the abilities, of course. But let's say that each card, for Blast and Ki, or for Blast and Strike, each ability costs 20 to use. And of course, that takes up your Ki. What Piccolo does with his ability, he adds 10 to that. So instead of it just being 20 for the Blast and the Strike cards, it costs 30 instead. Piccolo, low-key, top tier. So 14% to yellow elements, max base health during battle, unique ability, 20% to your own strike damage dealt against Frieza Force. So he is stronger against Vegeta. Okay. I mean, Dodoria as well. Pretty certain Zarbon's in the game. Frieza. Okay. Piccolo, I need this, man. Just that ability alone, the ability to add a certain amount of cost to the cards for your enemy. That's top tier. That is straight up top tier. That is a card that you definitely want in your arsenal. Okay, she is a support type. I think I know what she does based off a few tweaks. Ki restore speed, 2,624. That is the highest one we've seen so far. She has a mixture of strike and Ki cards. Also, she has a hybrid Saiyan. Okay. Arts. Maiden Burst, or Maiden Blast. Deals major thrust, causes enemies to take 15% more strike damage for 15 timer counts. Dancing Power, sorry if I butchered the name. 15% of your own strike damage for 30 timer counts. Now the abilities. Tomboyish Girl. Minus 30% the enemy Ki recovery for 20 timer counts. Yo! Wow! That is a massive decrease. For 20 seconds as well. A minus 30% to enemy Ki recovery. And when you have Pan out, she recovers the most amount of Ki so far. Okay, Z ability. 90% strike attack to female warriors. Ki recovery. 20% to own Ki recovery from battle start to count 25. Yo! Pan is up there! No wonder she's a support unit. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Piccolo and a Pan certainly... Okay. Okay. I'm trying to think of the best possible way to say which one is better than the other. So, when it comes to the main offensive units, Goku is ahead. No contest. Super Saiyan Goku. Okay, he is better than Vegeta. When it comes to the Piccolo and the Spirit Bomb Goku, I will say that they are pretty much even. And the reason why I say this is because Piccolo has that ability to cut damage by 50%. But then Goku does have the ability to feint someone, which would give you a bit of an edge, especially if it's someone like Pan. Because Pan would lose that ability, if I'm not mistaken. So, I don't know. I will definitely say that they are pretty much even. When it comes to the Piccolo and the Pan, they definitely surprised me, but Ki is one of the more important things in the game. And when you drastically reduce the ability to obtain that Ki, it puts you at a massive disadvantage. So I'm gonna like, when it comes to the top 3 units in the game, let's just say that in no particular order, I'm gonna say Pan, Super Saiyan Goku, and I'm gonna say the Piccolo as well. Yeah, I think that honestly, that ability to add the 10 to your opponent gives you such a drastic advantage. And if you can combine that with someone like Pan, it's game over. It's 100% game over. That is a massive ability. Goku's going to be the hardest hitting unit in the game, 100%. Especially most of his abilities. Vegeta isn't that far behind. Piccolo and Goku are just incredible units defensively, but if you just reduce your opponent's capabilities of using their Ki, yeah, you have a massive advantage there. So Piccolo or Pan and the Piccolo are the ones that you want the most. By far, do not overlook them. The Super Saiyan Goku, you're just going to be able to obtain naturally by getting to level 20 at some point. If I go over to... where do I go? If I go over to... where are the missions? If I go over to missions, once you get to level 20, you get the Goku. So you don't realistically need to try to summon for him. I highly recommend that you either re-roll or try your very best to summon the Piccolo or the Pan, because they are incredible. But yeah, that was it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Definitely going to try to summon for that Piccolo and the Pan. But that was it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know who you think is the best. But definitely was a lot of fun to go over the units and just see what they can do. But wow, I am definitely blown away by the Pan and Piccolo.